Um, this is Hugo Centeno, who is going to be fighting Jermall Charlo, former IBF 154-pound champion. He's moved up to 160 for the WBC interim title and to be the mandatory for the winner of Golovkin versus Canelo versus Golovkin 2. If Golovkin wins and the WBC title, it's a weird situation. But in the meantime, watch this. I'm going to explain it. I'm TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. I cover every single major fight live. Please subscribe. All the links, obviously, are popping up right there on the social media. I mean,
comes in undefeated. And as I mentioned earlier, Centeno has not been active as of late. From Soyetsky. So this is the first time that he has been knocked down. Tonight,
ready to go.
Second time in his career.
That's it.
And it's all over.
Now, I watched this fight. I remember watching this fight. He is an Al Haymon fighter. He's 26 years old. In fact, before we go look at some more
Great finish.
and watch that in slow motion and talk about who that is that he lost to. Forgot how to pronounce his name. Sulewski. Polish fighter. He's supposed to be fighting Vinesh Martirosyan for the WB to be the mandatory for Jermall Charlo. So we got a lot to talk about. Let me stick with the script so I don't confuse myself and I don't confuse you. I'm TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. I cover every single major fight live. So before we look at that clip again and watch it in slow motion, here's who he is. He is 26-1. That's his only loss right there that we just saw. 14 KOs. In that fight right there, it was 2 years ago. He's a 26-year-old. He's been fighting for the most part outside of this year, twice a year. And I don't know if it was an injury. No, let me pull it up on a full screen. Y'all can't see it. My bad. Once again. 26-1 with 14 KOs, 26 years old, from Oxnard, California. He is an Al Haymon fighter. And if you look at his resume, you know, twice in 2016, twice in 2015, twice in 2014. And you want to have your fighters, you know, fighting twice a year for the most part at his age. But this year, and maybe it is because of they've been trying to see what's going on with this WBC interim situation, that he's only had one fight, which was in August of 2017. So now that we're in January and he's not going to be on, they're not going to be on the Peterson Spence card, which they was rumored to be on. They're not going to be on the February 17th card. I don't think they're going to be on the February 10th or the February 17th card. Wait a minute. This fight, I'm sorry, excuse me. This fight could end up on Garcia versus Rios. That fight has no co-feature yet. That fight's going to be taking place in Vegas. So you could have Danny Garcia versus Brandon Rios and Jermall Charlo versus Hugo Centeno for the WBC interim title. But we're also hearing that you may have Devin Alexander versus Victor Ortiz on Fox Sports 1 or something like that the day before or the day of, something. But if not, then this fight would have to happen in March. I got a chance to talk to Jermall Charlo. The video's on here, you know, on the channel, but I forgot to pull it up. It's about a 40-minute or so video where the Charlos had a press conference. I'm trying to figure out if it was at Lara versus Goucher that was in October, or was it at Wilder versus Taverne that was in November. But basically before those events started, one of those they had a press conference, and I was there. I forgot which one. And they were talking about their future. So this was back then when Jermall Charlo said that, yeah, you know, my team is talking basically Al Haymon to the WBC to see what's going on with that WBC interim situation. Now, I pulled this up for you guys so basically we can go through it together and do a little bit of reading rainbow for those who don't know what an interim championship is. Now, I'm going to read to you what they say the shit is, and then I'm going to tell you what the shit really is without all this bullshit. So let's do a little reading rainbow. This is from the WBC rules and regulations. Now, I've read all of these things, This is how you know who the mandatories are, what the championship means, and how they come up with mandatories. Now, a lot of times I find that they contradict their own rules, not just the WBC, but the other sanctioning bodies such as the WBO, the WBA, and the IBF. However, they do, as you'll hear in here, see words, two words that mean a lot in the, well, three, four, in its sole discretion. But anyway, let me read this. Interim championship rule. In special circumstances, including when the WBC is in its sole discretion. Hold on, wait, let me read it on a small screen. Let me read it on the big screen, my bad. In special circumstances, including when the WBC in its sole discretion declares a WBC champion temporarily unavailable to defend his title. Now, let's stop right there. That already says that, okay, well, listen, we're not going to stop. Even though, Jermall, you the mandatory for Golovkin, and Centeno, you like next in line or whatever, we're not going to stop Canelo Golovkin for you. So this is what that part means. So once again, in special circumstances, including when the WBC is in its sole discretion declares a WBC champion temporarily unavailable to defend his title, the WBC may sanction a bout between two qualified challengers for an interim championship or otherwise recognize an interim champion in a division. So they could have made Jermall Charlo the WBC interim champion, but they said, nah, you know what? You fight Hugo Centeno. And from my understanding and watching many Hugo Centeno fights, he can beat Hugo Centeno Jr. So let me read some more. In its sole discretion, that means basically what that means is we can do whatever we want. In our discretion, we can just make up some shit if we want to. Y'all just got to ride with it. So in its sole discretion, the WBC shall subsequently determine the timing and terms of any bout between a champion and an interim champion to determine a sole champion in a division, provided, however, that an interim champion shall never be deemed a mandatory challenger or entitled to a greater share of proceeds of any purse offer beyond that of the challenger, which is a specific prior written order to affect the WBC president made the signee. So basically, they're saying that, okay, well, when you're an interim champion, you're not you're a mandatory, but you don't have the mandatory rules of, okay, well, if you don't fight him, then it's going to be a purse bid or whatever the case may be. They'll just strip you of the interim championship. You see what I'm saying? Or they'll just strip you from the regular championship. So what happened in Golovkin's case? Golovkin became the WBC champion by not fighting Canelo because Canelo was forced to drop because at that point in time, Golovkin had beaten a future WBC mandatory in Martin Murray, and he had beat the interim champion, which was the champion. See, Rubio got that interim championship because Sergio Martinez was injured. So it's complex, but basically Canelo was put into a spot that put the WBC into a spot to be like, yo, bro, Golovkin's team is on our ass. And he already beat the future mandatory and the current mandatory. You still saying you're not going to fight him? Their team is on our ass, and and social media is like, why won't we strip you? So therefore, Canelo had to drop his belt than to be stripped. They didn't want to strip him, so now Canelo is running around like the WBC did him wrong by not stripping him only because he's Mexican. Golovkin had, it's hard in this day and age, in this social media age, for these organizations to get away with the dumb shit they was doing before. Because it's all out there. Like a guy like me come along and the fans are doing the same shit too. It's like, wait a minute, how the fuck he become a mandatory when he didn't do this? Like, for example, people wonder, what if Brandon Rios beats Danny Garcia? He'll be Keith Thurman's motherfucking next mandatory after Sean Porter. It's like, but this is Brandon Rios. How did he? So you may look at fights like, okay, well, Jermall Charlo's supposed to win this. Jermall Charlo's supposed to win this fight. But in reality, how is Hugo Centeno, after losing this fight, just one fight or whatever, fighting for a mandatory to be a mandatory? It's weird like that, but hey, listen, whatever. My job is just to report the news. So, knowing who Hugo Centeno is, and you can watch his fights on the internet, he was being, outboxed by that guy, this guy right here. And he was eventually, even though he was stopped right there, the referee stopped it, he was beaten into submission. And I've seen other fights like where he's somewhat lackadaisical. So it's like, how much have you grown since this fight, which was nearly 2 years ago? You know, how much have you grown then, only having two other fights since then? You know? So looking at the Jermall Charlo that we know, I'm just wondering, I don't know, man. This kid might get knocked out. Look, my God. You know? And when you look at that and you try to put that up, you know, you try to put that up against this one right here, right? And you put that up against this. Hold on, wait a minute. We got to put our little disclaimer just in case we get any cowboys trying to violate our rights. All right? And Julian Williams was doing good. He was doing good. He just didn't respect the power of Charlo from. It's like, yo, bro, you went there from a jab. You know, you got to change up the game plan. So once again, hey, listen, I'm just keeping it real. I have nothing against Hugo Centeno, but do you think he can beat Jermall Charlo? He would have to be somebody we've never seen before. Remember, I just got finished binge watching his fights. You know, and also he fought Julian Williams. It's crazy. You know? But I'm TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. I guess what we're waiting for now is for the fight to be announced. Of course, I can go into. I had this whole. I didn't know we were gonna. Williams went down face first, second time of the fight. Hold on, I didn't want that. I don't want that. I didn't know this video was going to take this long to do. You know, because I was going to go through the whole rankings of the 160-pound division. But since I'm going to be doing a Canelo versus Golovkin video, then we got to talk about Danny Jacobs' return, and then we got to talk about Demetrius Andrade and all those guys. I might as well just, you know, like pepper it in. You know, so here's the WBC rankings as it stands right now, if you can see over here. So if you see, you know, it's Jermall Charlo versus number 4, Hugo Centeno. Of course, Canelo was supposed to be fighting Golovkin next. And then Danny Jacobs looks like he didn't want the Jermall Charlo fight, or was he ever approached about that fight? You know, we need to know what happened. You know, like, we need to talk to Danny Jacobs and say, hey, listen, the WBC say, you know, like, if you fight Jermall Charlo, you be the #1 contender. Because why did they pick Hugo Centeno? And usually how they do is they do like a process of elimination, you know, where they go down, you know, like the line, you know. But whatever the case may be, you know, we got a little more research to do to see what's going on. I'm TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. I cover every single major fight live. As you can see, all the links to my social media are right there. And visit FightView360.com to get your up-to-date rankings. And we're working on something to make sure that, you know, all this stuff is color-coded and you know who the champions are and who the mandatories are and all of that. Please subscribe. Lots of videos coming. I'm a little behind today because of the snow, but, you know, we're going to keep it moving. 4+ videos today, even though I only did 3 yesterday. But 4+ videos 6 days a week is what we're going to be doing. Please subscribe.